If I was president, I think I would do that anyway.
Exactly.
Even though I can walk. Just bring me in the car.
Preferably an old Duesenberg or something classy.
Jack Riccardi, 9 till 5:50.
KTSA News Time is 10:09 on the News and Talk of San Antonio, 550 KTSA. Jack Riccardi, it is time for Gang of Four. Whether you are ready or not, the weekend is here. The gang is here. We're going to kick around the big stories of the day and the week with our gang. You can vote in the JR poll at 599-5555. The question on the poll today, there it is. Should Texas license plates have a Confederate flag design as an option? People are passionately voting yes and no. You can friend me on Facebook to do that. It's one of the things we'll talk about with the gang. On our Gang of Four today, he's the owner of the Magnolia Pancake Houses, eventually. Soon to be. Yeah. What's the plural in German? I don't
I haven't looked that one up yet.
Look that up.
Yeah, really.
But Robert Fleming is here, and Robert, good to have you back on the gang.
Nice to be here.
You are right in the midst of, dealing with the city and the red tape.
Yeah.
But eventually there'll be a second Magnolia Pancake Haus.
We think good, probably March 1 is a safe bet.
Spring of 2012.
Yep, we're going to try to get it done a little quicker.
And for folks that haven't heard yet, where will the new one be?
It's on the corner of Huebner and Research, which is 1 block west of the intersection of Fredericksburg and Huebner, over in the medical center area.
And Robert Fleming in the house today. KTSA. Also with us on Gang of Four today, attorney and former Bexar County DA candidate Nico LaHood. Welcome back. Good to see you.
Thank you very much.
I was just saying to you off the air, you've got the women are already excited on Facebook that you're on today. So Taylor, you'll really have to hurry to get the video podcast of this Gang of Four up. Don't drag your feet.
Will there be any DVD extras?
They want to see that. They want to see, and really just keep the camera on Nico most
the whole
Jack
time.
likes it.
Just
Jack
the whole
likes it.
time.
No matter who's talking.
The rest of us will just kind of move around him so that he can just make us look better.
In fact, I'm realizing now this is how I want to do it.
I know I'm underdressed.
Yeah, no,
Only headshots for me, Taylor, because this guy's
From now on, we're going to have one extremely good-looking person on Gang of Four and not shoot me at all anymore. I like that.
That is awesome.
I'm comfortable with it. All right, so nothing to announce. Just life is good.
Life
You're
is
happy
great.
in the
My kids,
sector.
like I told you off air, my son just turned 1. My daughter turned 3 on the 28th. We're having a birthday party this weekend for her. I'm crazy in love with them.
You're like a local skinny Chris Christie. Let me explain what I mean by that. You know that if you just wag a finger, just wink an eyelash at a local political race, people are going to trip over themselves. Jade, am I right or am I right?
It's true. It's true.
They want you to run.
Well, God willing, I will
That must
someday.
feel good.
Well, it does. I'm honored, and I want to serve, but I'm going to do it like we talked about when I feel passionate about.
Most of our politicians, we want them to leave. We want you to get in.
Well, thank you.
All right.
Thank
Well, we're
you.
glad you're on Gang of
Thanks,
Four
Jake.
today. Comedian, entertainer. He can. Let me tell you. Go to YouTube. It's not just jokes. He can sing. He can dance. He can write a column about politics. What can't Jade Esteban Estrada do?
I can't keep up with Nico LaHood.
I
That's
don't know
what it
about
is.
that. I don't know.
I can't.
About that. How are you?
I'm good.
What's
I'm good. I'm having a good time working for Elaine Wolf. That's what I'm doing.
Now, honestly, though, I mean, I know you write the column for
Right.
PlazaDeArmasTX.com, but you just have somebody ghostwrite that. I mean, you're very busy, right? You don't have any time for that, right?
You know what? It's funny because I love working for Elaine so much that my life doesn't change, and I still have these deadlines that like. I'll be on a plane trying to send off.
That's crazy, though.
It
right?
is crazy, but it's I really enjoy it. I really enjoy. It's a whole other aspect of being funny. It's like you can be funny on a mic all you want, but doing it via text and then trying to send it on a plane, on time. That's a whole other thing, and it's exciting. It's a great challenge for me. This year's been really it's challenged me, and I enjoy that.
The column is called Glitter Political, and people can read it by subscribing to PlazaDeArmasTX.com,
That's
which is
right.
an online newspaper. Any gigs coming up that we can talk about?
Out of state, actually. I'm going to be in Washington State and Colorado doing a lot of colleges this season. Hispanic Heritage Month, Lesbian and Gay History Month, and that's a really busy time for me. So.
I would think a college crowd would be great. I mean, that'd be like for a comedian, that would be like a really good audience.
It is, but we always come into this conversation about demographics because I could make a whole bunch of 30, 40-something people laugh, but when it comes to these young people,
It's a whole different point of connection and
really
a
is.
perspective. They don't
I
have
mean,
the
I
same.
gotta-
They don't have the
I
same
have to
cultural references
You're
as
not
you.
sure,
Yeah.
these young people. What are you, George Burns?
no, but to them I am. I'm no Nico LaHood.
I am the senior citizen. here today, folks.
Oh my goodness.
You're gonna be the punchline all
Oh,
day.
it's okay, thank you.
It's in a good way.
In a good way.
Yeah, right.
I'll,
With all due
I'll
respect.
protect you, Nico.
Thanks.
All right. Governor Perry. Let's talk about Governor Perry.
I love your emphasis on the word governor, as in pronoun.
Yeah, well, look, it's not going very well, is it?
No.
Toast.
No, already?
I think he's toast.
Oh, come on, it's only, what is it, it's September.
Nah, man, he's gonna have a hard time. I think the Gardasil thing, while I agree with in concept with the drug and what it can do, he's gonna have a hard time with that. And we haven't even gotten to the Texas corridor thing yet.
You would have thought that maybe one
I
of
would
those
have thought that would have been the bigger
biggie,
issue,
and right
yeah.
now it seems to be this in-state
But I think, because the immigration hot button, but I think once it gets rolling, I just don't think there's any there.
In the debate on September 22nd, Governor Perry now infamously referred to people who disagreed with giving in-state tuition discounts to illegal immigrants as heartless.
Yeah, I heard that.
He has walked that back subsequently this week in an interview, saying it was inappropriate, a poor choice of words. He can understand. Of course, it's up to each state to decide. In Texas, it was the consensus of Democrats and Republicans. In essence, Nico, he gave the answer he needed to give that night. So is it too little, too late?
Well, I don't even know if he needed to give that answer that night, because I mean, you could have heard a cricket cough that night. I mean, it was. I heard the debates. I watched them. I didn't think he got the response he thought he was going to get from that, because he basically called the audience heartless. No one agreed with that.
But how is that? When would you ever attack your base in either party? I
have no idea. If you notice him, because I watch a lot of things, because I'm not at that stage, but being in the campaigning and doing some debates, and she didn't debate me that much, but you watch their body language, and he's very expressive. When people are attacking him, he starts jumping and making expressions, and his hands move, and then he was way out of his game. You know, he can't avoid debates on this level. And
How can he be out of his game, Jade? I mean, the guy was the head of the Republican Governors Association. He's the governor of a major state. Why isn't this working out in reality the way it looked like it would on paper?
I think perhaps someone in his position may think that everyone thinks like Texas. What came to mind when you guys were talking about this is that I was in Delaware and a couple of East Coast states last week, and everyone I speak to is like already just up in arms against Perry for all these very specific reasons, because he's talking to the nation as if it were Texas. That's how it comes across to me, and that's why it perhaps may not translate to other people.
So he hasn't been out of the state enough, or doesn't have enough of a perspective? Is that what you're saying?
But he's good at giving a speech. Giving a speech is one thing.
He's great at giving a speech.
But having commentary back and having to answer and explain yourself is another story. If you listen to his answers, they're very general answers. Mitt Romney gets very specific answers. Even Kane gives specific answers. I mean, most people do. His are he's got a lot of charm. Can't take that away from him. He's got a lot of charisma, but he doesn't have any substance, at least in my opinion, on these two debates that I've watched.
Golly, this is the same thing I heard about the guy who's sitting at 1600 maybe 2 years ago. Gives a great speech, not a whole lot of substance. When people ask him or put him on the defensive, he gets a da. You know, just it's same guy, different flavor.
Well, I have heard Perry defenders. They're certainly not making that comparison, Robert. They would run the other way from that comparison. But I have heard Perry defenders, and they call this show, and we don't want to, we love them. But they'll say this was also what was said about Reagan, that he was general, that he was big picture, that he wasn't a good debater. They say, look, why should it matter as president? You don't debate. It's not a skill set for a president.
Right.
It is, however, a skill set
For a candidate. Right. I think that, we're so early into it. You have so many people on the stage that none of these candidates want to get too specific, because either it will come back to bite them, or some other candidate may pick up on some tenet of their specificity and use it against them and to their own advantage. So I think that, if this thing winnows down to 2 or 3, you'll probably see a lot more, Nico. You'll see a lot more of the specifics. They'll have to. But I really think where it's coming down to quickly is people are getting tired. I know as a conservative, I'm tired of the constant bashing. Now, hey, I can go on and bash President Obama all day long, okay? But I'm not running for office, so I have that luxury. But these folks need to start putting some meat on the plate. They need to put some ideas out there. And I think one of the reasons maybe Kane is starting to catch a little fire is he really is the only guy that said, here's something pretty specific.
Well, let's talk about the specific issue that got Perry into trouble. And you're on Gang of Four on 550 KTSA right now. I really don't understand how in-state tuition discounts for illegal immigrants is a conservative idea or a rational idea.
Can we back this thing up a little bit? I think this is where Perry has really missed the mark in managing this thing. It's not a discount, okay? It's the same rate any resident of the state of Texas pays.
But it's not the rate that people from the other 49 states who are.
I understand that. I understand that. But what I'm saying is, in this world, it's about semantics and it's about optics.
Well, he could have said that. He also could have said, "Hey, I'm a federalist, and this was one state, and states have the rights, as I'm sure my colleague from Massachusetts would agree,
yes.
to do things that are not popular or understood in other states." But instead, he has chosen to defend the substance of it, and I think that's part, Nico, of why it angered people. He seemed to be trying to sell it.
Right.
You're heartless if you don't get it. Of course we do this. How could we not do it? And I don't understand it.
Well, he has allowed his opponents to dictate the issue. And I agree with you, Robert. I mean, he should have explained it, because someone who doesn't know the issue, if you listen to that debate, you're thinking that an illegal alien's child is going to get $100,000 worth of subsidies.
Right, exactly.
That's the way it came across, and he never refuted that issue. He just kind of tried to defend his position instead of saying, "Hold on, guys, let's talk apples and apples.
Let's understand
what the
it
real
is."
issue is." And he didn't do that.
And the other issue is, like you said, he should have said, "Look, folks, the members of the Texas legislature, duly elected by the citizens of Texas, approved this thing.
Right.
Okay, I signed it because I believed in it." And said and done. And then just not go down that road.
Right.
So really, in essence, if he is the Federalist he believes, he missed a big-time
Huge.
opportunity to give a Federalist answer. And I don't know, I think he's going to be stuck talking about this for weeks and weeks
He's
and months
allowed
to
it
come.
define himself, and he's not going to be.
And it has nothing to do with the race.
Which
It's
is
nothing to do
why.
with the president.
Which is why I say toast. He's too early in the game. He's allowed one issue that is really not that important of an issue, other than the emotional connect for a lot of the electorate, to define what he is and put him on the defense.
I don't see how you can say toast. He's polling higher right now than McCain was polling 4 years ago.
No.
McCain wasn't toast.
No.
Well, I'm not a
in the
fan,
end,
but I don't
because
believe
I think
so.
not in the end, because it was the mainstream media that drove who the candidate was going to be.
Which candidate of these candidates seems to be the favorite of the mainstream media?
You know, they moved.
That we
They're-
clearly
they're
that they
pretty
wanted
fluid.
McCain 4 years ago.
Yes, right. Well, but that was at the point where it came down to, you know, it was Romney or McCain, and they picked McCain because they've always had this, you know, relationship with him in terms of being the maverick and all of that, and I think they realized who, you know,
Well,
they
in
could.
that race, Romney was the more conservative candidate.
Right, but I think they figured out who they could hone in on. Whenever it came down to whether it was Hillary or Obama, they were be able to say, well, McCain, he's old. Who does he pick? He could die. Blah blah blah. So I think they had an agenda that they worked pretty darn well.
Is the agenda in this case working for or against Perry?
I think it's going to work against him.
All right. So is he a media darling, Jade, or is he a media demon?
I think he's both, depending on who the media is you're talking about. I think it can work in his favor both ways, because you have so many people who are against mainstream media these days that if they hear something bad about someone like Perry, that they'll go, "Oh, that just translated the opposite
Just an
way."
attack.
Mm-hmm. Just an attack. He's a good guy, and he means well to bring conservatism back to America. I can see people thinking that.
Nico, are you surprised by how this is going? I mean, when he announced, he immediately became the front runner. People thought he was the candidate that everybody was waiting for in the Republican Party, Southern, conservative, executive experience. Are you surprised by where he is at this point?
Not really. I think that, I mean, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm not a Perry fan, but I thought he started off wrong. I'm just waiting for the conservative Christians to attack him on having that prayer vigil in Houston a week before he announces to be president, when he'd never done that before ever in office. I mean, I think it's disingenuous, and so this doesn't surprise me. I didn't think that he could hold off to very specific questions and have a lot of details in his answers.
All right, we're back with more Gang of Four on a Friday morning, 599-5555 on the News and Talk of San Antonio, 550 KTSA.